knockout. Not just because I knew I could hurt him, but because of all the stuff that he was talking. I guess it was just in me just to stop him and prove a point. But in doing that, I could have did a little bit better as far as being sharp. But like my promoter said, we've been out the ring for a couple months, and it's only about getting sharp and staying active and making sure that it doesn't repeat itself. Much respect to Luis Arias and his team, but I did go out there and prove the point that I wanted to prove, which is that there's level to this game. And he was outmatched, and I knew the attributes that I brought to the table, that he wasn't able to deal with it, and that's exactly what we showed. I'm looking forward to bigger and better things. The future is very, very bright. Even though this, to me, wasn't the best performance, I'm looking forward to having the best performance in the near future. So, thank you guys, always, and we can go to some questions.
Danny, not sure if you caught the tail end of his post-fight, but John David Jackson had a lot to say. He said you were a cruiserweight in the ring, essentially, and then he made a big deal that you came in, huge, like in a whole different weight class than Lewis. I know you hate being, getting that accusation post the Triple G fight. That's been a big thing of you not weighing in on the scale. Can you make a comment on that?
Well, I mean, I make middleweight, and I'm probably the biggest middleweight because I skip leg day. You see my legs, I'm skinny at the bottom and I'm big up top, right? So it's not my fault, that's just the way things work. But I'm just a really big middleweight, and I can make it easy. This camp for me was the easiest, and big shout out to Chris Algieri. This camp was the easiest that I've made 160. I was able to have breakfast the morning of the weigh-in. I was able to feel good and feel strong. I can't help it if I'm a big middleweight. But that's not an excuse for anyone. Because if you're an elite, then you're elite and you know how to avoid certain shots, and I don't think he was really able to avoid much. I mean, he held and he grabbed and, he ducked and dodged, but I'm just an elite fighter. It just so happens I'm one of the biggest middleweights in the world.
Danny,
yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Arias held a lot. Did the referee ever address that, when he was speaking to you guys? Because it didn't seem like it to me.
Yeah, I think the referee, he gave him a couple warnings. I would have liked him to give him a lot more warnings, but the referee did a stellar job, no complaints. He was in survival mode from the first round on. Once he got hurt, he was in survival mode. And it's really hard to stop a guy who's like experienced with the survival skills. He was grabbing, he was ducking, he was holding, and I really wanted to display my skills, and my trainer kept telling me, put your combinations together, start from the body, because that's where he would start when he started holding. I just started a little headhunting a little bit too much, but it's just about the experience, and I gained a lot more experience in this fight than I've done in my previous fights for that reason alone.
Danny, was he better defensively than you thought, or would you not even say that he was being defensive because he was so looking to survive? How do you see it?
Yeah, I don't think it was, because when there's a difference from being defensive and trying to really survive. I mean, he swayed a couple punches, but like I said, I was really aiming to get the knockout. So at times it seems as if I was swinging and missing is because I was really anxious. But I don't think he was the best defensive guy that I fought. But he did a really good job at holding and surviving. I give him that. But he didn't pose any threat. He didn't hurt me at any time in the fight, and I was able to see all the shots. He wasn't that fast of a guy. I just think I could have done better, but I did think I put on a good performance. A nice, strong 12 rounds for me, and getting that experience where people think I'm this huge knockout artist. It just shows my diversity.
Danny, were you surprised that he didn't stand in the middle of the ring like he said he would?
Yes, I am. I think he fooled all you guys too. Like, I think with the lead up and build up to this fight, I think you guys really, as well as I did, thought he was going to stand in the middle of the ring and bang it out. So the first round, my mindset, I was going to be a little precautious and kind of, be a little bit more defensive than I normally am. But when I started seeing him going backwards, when I wasn't really posing a threat, I said, okay, I see what type of party this is going to be. And it was actually worse than I thought, so.
I got two questions here. Danny, first, congrats on the performance.
Thanks, Al.
At what point in the fight did you realize, all right, this dude is in a straight survival mode and I'm really not going to be able to stop, so let me just close the show, win every round comfortably. Did you feel that way at any point in the fight?
Maybe the second half of the fight, and I knew that, because I thought that him being inexperienced and going 12 rounds, that I might get him in the 11th or 12th or 10th round in the championship rounds. But he was able still to survive, and even though I hurt him a couple times in the fights in the later portion.
The body too late in the fight.
And that's credit to my trainer. He told me to go down to the body because every time I go for the head, the guy ducks down and holds, and you know, he just had survival skills. I mean, there's nothing I can say about it. I mean, it was just a learning experience.
My second question is for Eddie. What do you think of Danny's performance? You know, you've been working with him with this first fight.
I think it was a masterclass. I think he was trying a bit hard too early. There's a lot of pressure on him tonight, and I know that he says a great line at the press conference, it's not my first rodeo, which is true, but also, you know, he wants to impress, he was keen to impress, and I think if Arias would have boxed the fight that he said he was going to fight, you would have seen a different performance, but what you saw was a masterclass from an elite middleweight, and this game is very tough, so to come out 12 rounds unscathed, really untouched, unmarked, and making a lot of money is really what this game's about. It's a very, very tough sport, and these fighters deserve every dollar they get, and they need to know exactly what the plan is. And the plan tonight was 12 rounds, win every round, have a couple of weeks off, back to the gym. And that's what it goes. Bank the performance, bank the money, move on to world titles. That's what it's all about. It's a very, very professional performance from Danny against a good young fighter. You know, I mean, I think he realised that he was a bit out of his depth during the fight, but you know, he's a good young fighter, Luis Arias. But what you saw was an elite middleweight. So I saw what I knew, which is Danny Jacobs is one of, in my opinion, the best middleweight in the world. And you'll see his level rise, as you do always, when he steps up against the even better guys.
I mean, hey, listen, I just think, you know, to add to what he's saying, I just think you can't really knock out everyone, but I showed, you know, bits and pieces of my different attributes. I think once he got a feel of the power, that's when I was able to put my combinations together in the later portions of the round. So that's early on when I said the pressers and the building up of this fight that I wanted to show my levels. And even though I could have done a better job, I do feel like I did just that.
I think he realized in the first round that he's outclassed.
Yeah.
You know, I seen it in his face. But you said it in the post interview, you said, you know, it takes a while to let go of some of that anger and that anxiousness. Is it still there now? Are you going to go on Instagram and say?
I just finished seeing his mom, and she came up and we spoke, and we said there's nothing but love and respect. Like at the end of the day, you know, we human, you know, and the back and forth talk, yeah, it's going to get under my skin, but I respect him, like, you know.
Did you want to say on camera, who ran now?
No, that's not it. That's not.
I wanted you to say.
No, I would never disrespect him. My skills spoke for me inside that ring, and that's really at the end of the day what it's all about. You know.
Your speed, and you looked really fast. Your speed was really impressive today.
I felt good, and I was able to utilize my jab a lot more, which my trainer loves, because in the last fight we kind of strayed away from that. And I think just adding different pieces to the puzzle as we get in this experience. So I don't look at 12 rounds with a guy who many feel like I could have stopped as a defeat or a loss. I look at it as progression.
But what it is that no one really knows him because he's never fought anybody. So we don't know if he can even be stopped.
Right.
So
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I've said leading up to this fight that you have to respect a guy like this because a lot of people in the inner circle, the boxing world, know this guy and he has respect amongst the boxing community. He's just not known to the world, and that's why I had to be on my A game and expect, you know, his very best.
Congratulations, Daniel.
Thank you.
I know this week you've been sort of avoiding looking further than Luis Arias.